Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kayfabe Central Podcast and a very special episode of the Kayfabe Central Podcast where we are going to go over you guys' hot takes that you have left for us. I am your host, Josh. As always, joining me is Ruan Wrestling
Hey guys.
and Stu World Order.
Hello.
So I still don't know what I am calling this video, but we are going to be going over your hot takes that you have left for us. Yeah, I know we've got some interesting ones. We've got some ones that we can agree with. We've got some ones that we definitely disagree with. Um, but either way, this is gonna be a fun video. I know Ruse told me there's been a couple people waiting for this video to come out. We had to get the headlines video out the way first. By the way, thank you for the support on the headlines of the week video. Definitely means a lot, so I appreciate everyone tuning in and listening in to me and Rue talk about everything going on in the world of pro wrestling. But yeah, I'm going to save all the self promo stuff till the end, and we're just gonna get into it. So how this is gonna work? I'll say a hot take first, and then I'll give my thoughts on it, and then it'll just go around as we normally do on the podcast. So, um, you guys ready?
Let's
Oh,
do
I'm
it.
so ready.
All right. So the first hot take we have here is from a good friend of the Kayfabe Central podcast, the Wrestling Geezer. He said Jeff Jarrett is more important to wrestling than he's credited for. So I saw this and immediately I was like, I agree because I think Jeff Jarrett is somebody who definitely doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Um, Obviously a co-founder of TNA, and the guy has just done so much. He's been through every company, and he's just done a lot for the world of professional wrestling, and it's it's very likely to say that if it weren't for TNA, we wouldn't have careers like AJ Styles, like Samoa Joe, like Christopher Daniels, and there wouldn't have been a um, another promotion to really go head to head with the WWE at the time because that's when WCW went away, and then Jeff Jarrett didn't want to go back to WWE, so instead he decided to co-found TNA alongside his dad. Um, yeah, I 100% agree with this. There's not much else I have to throw in there because, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that for both points because I'm the same. As soon as I read his comment, as a shout wrestling geezer, I thought yes instantly. I think a lot of these hot takes, the best way to go about it, I feel, is just what is your instant gut reaction to them, and this was when I was like 100% agree. As you mentioned, Josh, like just from the TNA stuff alone, I think he deserves that credit, and I just wouldn't have careers like the likes of AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, etc., etc. But even like out with that, like you look at the massive, massive stars of the Attitude Era. You know, you look at your Stone Cold, your Rocks, Taker, Triple H, all that. Someone who massively carried the mid card around then, I would have said, and into the early 2000s was Jarrett. I mean, his program with China around the Intercontinental Championship. I've always loved him, and his work as well that I think he's done in AEW has been really entertaining, especially the last year of him being in the own cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a point where fans were clamoring for him to win it because of how much they were behind him. So I couldn't agree with this one more.
Yeah, so I immediately was like, Jeff Jarrett, piece of shit. But then I actually thought about it. And I was like, no, actually, Jeff Jarrett's given three great things to wrestling. First of all, the Road Dog. He gave us the
Hmm.
Road Dog. Thank you for that. Secondly, he kept really bad guitar manufacturers in business for years. And thirdly, he made Hulk Hogan look like a punk ass bitch live on television. And for that, I will always thank him. Thank you, Jeff Jarrett, for lying down in front of Hulk Hogan and making him look like a dick.
I love your way of going about it. It's just as good. That's
And
amazing.
I love the wrestling geezer as well, man. So I was never going to disagree with that guy.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, shout out the wrestling geezer. All right, Rudy, you want to go over with
Sure.
your take?
I'll go then. I have one here from a Lucy that says that Rooster and Josh are the best wrestling content creators. Couldn't agree more, player. Yeah.
Whoever
I
this
may or may
Lucy
not
girl
know this
is,
one. Do we
whoever
agree?
she is turned on. She is smart, and she is a damn fine wrestling fan and content creator identifier.
Exactly. Oh, no. I'm just joking. She would kill me if I hadn't kept it in. Um,
I want to know what
I'll
order she would put us in.
Oh, exactly. Um, I'll continue on. Why not with the wrestling geezer? We'll just on the time, mainly because he's at the top of my comments. To be truly honest with you, um, and now he's what he said here, and I commented back saying I will never not be able to call this man by this name now that he said it. But he said Samuel Guevara was stealing a living, and I'm assuming he's talking about Sammy, and I said I'll never not be able to call Sammy Samuel now because it's quite funny. And as harsh as it is, when I thought about it. Ah, I don't know. I'm like 50-50 because Sammy's a weird. When he first came into AEW, when I first started watching, I had no idea who he was, and he was someone that I instantly latched onto. I was like, I actually quite like this guy, and I enjoyed all the stuff he did with Jericho. But it just like I don't know if it was just attitude problems or whatever. It just never really came through in AEW,
Wait,
and now
bro,
he's off.
I don't mean to interrupt you. What
Oh,
was the hot take?
Oh, that Sammy Guevara was stealing a living.
Oh, okay.
And it is a hard one because instantly I was like, oh, maybe it's harsh. But he said he's in Ring of Honor now currently. And I feel like that it's almost that fall from grace for him because he feels like he should have been so much big on AEW than he has been. He's been noted as one of the pillars, and it just never came through for him. And this is the thing, I wouldn't besmirch anyone in wrestling who is happy just to go sit there and collect a paycheck. I think we can all agree if someone was offering to pay us 100+ grand a year to sit back and do nothing, I'd probably take it as well. Um, but he has been out doing stuff. Obviously, he was had the tag team going on with Dustin Rhodes for a bit, and I want to say I agree. I don't want to keep this too long because we have a lot of takes to get through. I want to say I agree. It's a bit harsh. I do like Samuel Guevara, but I can't feel like I'm disagreeing with wrestling either here.
Still, I'll let you take this.
I'm, I just said literally, I'd never disagree with the wrestling geezer. I'm now going to disagree with the wrestling geezer because I don't think there's anybody in the world of wrestling who's stealing a living.
Valid.
I'm taking it as like a really broad thing, as in like he goes out there and he risks getting hurt every week, risks really bad injury every week. So I think if you can get the maximum amount of money for that, the maximum amount of exposure for that, good luck to you, man. There's better wrestlers than him, but there's certainly worse wrestlers than him as well. He's not spectacular, but he's okay. So yeah, I'm gonna disagree with that one. I don't think anybody's stealing a living out of wrestling. If you're going to go out there and potentially hurt yourself for life, then good luck to you, man. Take as much money and as much exposure and get it while you can.
A way to make us look like pieces of shit. But you're actually right, to be fair.
Yeah, so I'm gonna side with Stu here. And as much as we love the wrestling geezer, I'm gonna disagree with him. Because I think Stu's right. There's not really obviously there are wrestlers like we had people like Ronda Rousey at one point in time that don't actually love this sport, but I don't think Sammy Guevara goes under that. I think Sammy Guevara is talented. He can really go in that ring. He can do some pretty cool things. Um, the guy isn't the best. I don't even know how to put this probably. I don't want to say best human being, but like he has his moments where you question his sanity a little bit. Um, but in general, I don't think he's stealing a living. I think um, it's just he can be an idiot. That's what it is. He can just be an idiot, and that's a lot of pro wrestlers. Um, A lot of pro wrestlers can be idiots, and you know what? That's perfectly fine. They go out week after week and hit their head, so it's perfectly acceptable to be an idiot sometimes as a pro wrestler. But yeah, no, I like Sammy Guevara, and he may have a very punchable face,
He
but
does have the most punchable face in the world. It's awful.
he
And his
does.
hair.
Oh God, it's terrible. Um, but I don't think he's stealing a living. All right, Stu, what's your hot
That's
take?
me.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine is from our wrestler himself. It's from Jack Clubley, who's also known as JOC, the Jack of Clubs. He's going to be fighting for the heavyweight title on Saturday at Fight Factory. He says Cena needs to win the IC title and retire with it. So there is no doubt he is the GOAT.
Well, you want to go for this one, Josh, first? Oh, sorry, no, you need to talk about one of it.
So I would love to see him win the Intercontinental title. I would hate to see him leave with it. I don't think anybody should ever walk out of a company with a title. Um, I would love to see him drop it to Dom. Oh, sorry, Dom drop it to Cena, and then somebody else win it. I'd love to see him. I'd actually love to see him fight for it in his last match and lose. That's my own personal opinion on that one. Just creating a nuclear heel in Dom if he cheated to win that match. I'd love to see him win it. I would not like to see him leave the company with it. I don't think he's the GOAT.
Um, I yeah, I don't like the idea of anybody leaving the WWE or any wrestling company with a championship. Um, I am with you, Stu, though. I think that he should win that Intercontinental Championship from Dom. That's still a match that we all want to see. And then probably ultimately drop it to Gunther in his final match. I'd be okay with that.
Hmm.
Um, so I the whole GOAT thing is it's very subjective because obviously he's announced as the greatest of all time. Um, I don't personally think he's the GOAT either, but he's definitely up there for me. In terms of him winning the Intercontinental Championship, he should. Leaving with it, absolutely not.
Yeah, I've got a really similar sort of frame of mind with this, with the two of you. I guess if I was to say just a straight answer to the take, I would say I disagree. I'm with you. I want to see Cena win it, but I'm actually not too bothered whether he does or not. I would absolutely love to see it, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen because the second part of that is, as Josh said, wrestling is entirely subjective, which I feel like we're going to be saying that a lot tonight. Um, it is, and I agree. John Cena to me isn't the GOAT. However, John Cena not winning that IC title, I that doesn't knock him off of any form of pedestal that he's already acclaimed for himself. The guy's John Cena. Like, like it doesn't matter. And true to be truly honest, yes, it's another accolade for him, which is cool when you can say he's a Grand Slam champion. But how many lesser wrestlers, and I mean that in the most respectful way, are Grand Slam champions? This guy's John Cena. He doesn't need to win it to
Miz.
be. Yeah, I love the Miz. What are you on about? He doesn't have to win it to be put on people's Mount Rushmores of WWE. I said he's not my goat. He's very, very close and up there. He's not my goat. Would I love to see him win the IC belt? Yes. Do I think he has to? No.
Can I add a couple of bits to this quickly?
Yep.
Um, is John Cena not winning the Intercontinental title actually going to make the IC title more prestigious? Imagine pretty much every IC champion from here on in can be like, not even John Cena could win this title, not even Sheamus could win this title. That's going to help the glamour of the title, I think. Secondly, I really, really flatly said John Cena isn't the GOAT. He, as Rue said, and I think as Josh said as well, he's very close. but I don't think he's it. Secondly, this is just a message to JOC, Jack Clubley. You're fighting Rogan for the title on Saturday, and I've spoken to Rogan, and apparently he's going to chop the shit out of you. So enjoy
Just
that
cut a
one,
promo
buddy.
here.
I can't wait to be there and see it.
That's what you get for calling Cena the GOAT.
He's going to put a little extra stank on those chops for you.
Just to reiterate before everyone goes mad, he's not a personal ghost. That's what we're saying here. Again,
Yeah.
subjective.
Exactly.
But I don't care if people go mad or not.
Oh, exactly, true.
So this next hot take comes from A1, also a good friend of mine that I've met through TikTok. He says Cody Rhodes should be a heel right now. He should have been the one to turn instead of Cena. The Rock not being there hurt Cena's heel turn tremendously to the point that it didn't make any sense. Cody being heel or heelish would have flowed beautifully into storylines this year, in my opinion. So I I agree to some capacity. Now, the Cena heel turn itself was a good idea. I loved it. I loved everything about it. It's what came after that. If we knew The Rock was gonna tuck his tail between his legs and go home and go to Hollywood again, then I would have been like, okay, no, this is not gonna work if you're gonna involve The Rock. If they didn't involve The Rock and didn't make him such a big focal point in the storyline, I think it would have been a lot better. I think the reason it became so bad is because we were all waiting for The Rock because he was the vocal point in Cena's heel turn and he just never showed back up. So it's I'm trying to word this properly without sounding like a little bit of um I'm okay with Cody Rhodes being a heel. I think that everybody's wanted Homelander Cody. And they they fumbled the Cena heel turn, absolutely. But as of right now, I don't see Cody Rhodes turning heel, is what I'm trying to say. I think that Cody Rhodes is the John Cena in their eyes right now. And we saw a little bit of heel tendencies from Cody Rhodes on the past episode of SmackDown when he lost by disqualification. But I don't think they're fully going to turn him heel. I If it happens, it's not going to be for another few years. He's going to stay the face of the company for a while. He's going to be a baby face. He's going to feud with Drew again, and eventually it's going to be Randy who has a punt kick waiting for him, most likely. Um, I wouldn't have minded Cody Rhodes being heel, but I just don't think it'll work right now.
Interesting. Do you want to take this one, Stu, first?
Okay, I'll crack in with this one. I don't think Cody Rhodes should have turned heel yet. I think we're very close to that point where he's going to need to turn heel. I think he's had enough face things to do that have kept him popular. I think now, as Josh said, once the Randy thing's out the way, there's not really a lot else for him to do. And I think he is going to start getting stale. I mean, the dude dresses like a heel now. When he comes out in his three-piece suit and his goddamn pocket watch and those awful glasses that make him look about 90. Seriously, dude, just be a heel. Or dress in your tracksuit top, which I want to buy so much. If anybody wants to donate to the Stu World Order, I would like Cody Rhodes.
Hot take here, I can see you rocking that, by the way, and it working so well. I never pictured that before in my life, and now it's like, yes.
As far as The Rock, man, as far as The Rock being involved in John Cena's heel turn, the moment was not a bad idea. The moment was a brilliant idea. And just look at the 2 weeks after that happened. It was cinema. I love when people say that. It was cinema. The Rock screwed everybody out of that heel turn. Now I know he's saying, "Oh, I wasn't planned for WrestleMania." Shut up! Everybody was expecting you at WrestleMania. You were such a massive part of the heel turn. It made no sense that you didn't follow it up at all. So you can say what you like about, oh, I wasn't meant to be there and I done my bit. No, you hadn't. And you're a wrestling man, so you know there's story after the story. And in fact, you weren't involved in it. You took every inch of life out of the WrestleMania main event. When poor Travis Scott got pushed out of that curtain on his Todd, it was like, what? Well, he's coming in a second. He's coming in. No, it's just Travis Scott. It was like I hated Travis Scott for a while after that one. I kind of felt bad for him, but no, I didn't feel bad for him. I hated him for it. But then I didn't. When I thought about it, I felt bad for him. He was in a no-win situation. No, you just go out there on your own with your little belt. What belt? What is that belt? You didn't win that belt. The only good thing about it was the theme tune he came out to. But my God. Oh yeah, and don't even get me started on Travis Scott and Fiend, 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 Fiend. I'm sorry, I've gone off on a tangent, but no, The Rock knew exactly what he was doing. And if he didn't know what he was doing, then he wants to fire him for whatever position he's in at the moment because he doesn't know wrestling at all. So I agree with the fact that he ruined the Cena heel turn. It lost a lot of steam after that. I don't agree with Cody Rhodes should have been the heel turn instead of John Cena. The John Cena heel turn was a great idea, just poorly executed. Cody Rhodes should turn heel very soon, though.
Yeah, I realized after doing the Wrestling Geezers one that I decided that literally for the first take I was already sitting on the fence, so I decided not to do that anymore. I'm giving you a straight yes or no answer. And for this one, I am in total agreement with the two of you. So as harsh as it is, I'm going to say I disagree. I understand where the sentiment comes from, and isn't hindsight an amazing thing in the world of wrestling? Um, let's go back to the start. As you said, heel turn just magnificent. One of the greatest moments in professional wrestling. It will go down and be in the list for the rest of time. Um, Absolutely. At the time, Cody Rhodes was the perfect babyface to be the superhero to foil the heel group at the time. What we thought of The Rock and John Cena, as John
Yeah.
Cena has been for the majority of his career. Cody Rhodes was their guy. They keep calling him their QB1 because he freaking is. I'm sorry if you don't like it. He is. He was the perfect one at the time. Now, hindsight, yes, great thing to look at and go, okay, this was a mess. Now, to go again into what Josh said, a lot of people want Cody to be heel, and I want Cody to be heel because I think we've tasted it before. We know what it can be. We've seen it when he was in Bullet Club. We've seen it when he was in TNA. We know he can just be an arsehole and it's great. So I want to see that. The other part, and I'm going to be slightly horrible corporate man for a second here, but I know. But you have to remember, I think, Cody Rhodes is the next John Cena. There's no point in denying that. There's no point getting pissy about it. He is. WWE needs someone to step into that limelight. Go to these shows and or just watch them on TV. All the kids in the front row have got their Cody jackets on, making Stu jealous. They've all got them.
And he is.
Exactly. They've all got them on. They love him. They want Cody. He is their guy. He is the one that back in the early 2010s when little Josh was sat there loving John Cena, as I heard on the Wrestling Geezers on, as he was there. This Cody Rhodes is John Cena to these kids now. He is, and it's so difficult now. I think we have learned from John Cena that he doesn't always need to be babyface, and a heel turn can be masterly produced. It's also what comes after it. So I disagree in the sentiment that Cody Rhodes should have been the one to turn heel. I don't agree with that. He was the perfect babyface at the time. But I will stand by what Stu and both Josh said. I think it does eventually need to happen because as much as I'm saying we need that person at the top, we need to now establish who can step into those shoes after Cody. It could have been
Exactly.
Sami Zayn, but everyone now freaking hates him. So it could have been, but it's not now. Um, so they need once someone else is established that they can. Maybe it's someone like Javon Evans down the line. I mean,
Yep.
eventually, once he's established, we have a face Javon Evans taking on the horrible, dastardly heel Cody Rhodes to pass on the torch. Maybe it's him, but yeah. So down the line, yes, I think we don't. We we. This is if I'm part of WWE. WWE shouldn't hold on as long to the heel turn on Cody Rhodes, and when the time is right, they need to pull it, which is not exactly Triple H's strong suit. I will agree. Um, but I disagree with sentiment at the time of WrestleMania on or well, Elimination Chamber going into WrestleMania 40, one we just had there. Cody Rhodes was the perfect babyface to go up against heel John Cena.
Yeah, and like you brought up a fantastic point about the kids in the front row wearing the Cody jackets. Years ago,
Bastards.
when it was when it was John Cena at the as the face of the company, that's a big reason why they didn't pull the trigger on him being a heel
Yep,
because the kids
exactly.
loved him.
We
And he was part of these Make-A-Wish foundations. He was part of, the Susan G. Komen stuff. And he was a big focal point. Now, like you mentioned, Ru, it's Cody Rhodes that's the focal point of all that stuff. It's very hard to turn a guy like that heel when you've put him as, like your Superman for WWE, right? You've put that guy as the face of WWE and, he's got all the kids on his side. So, yeah, I don't think that he's going to be turning heel anytime soon as well. Um, but yeah,
build better faces then.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
Don't have to worry
Um,
about it.
bro, I think it's a year ago.
It is mine. So fan of the channel, and all of us, we all know her very well. Phoebe has left a comment saying, "Ever since Naomi left, the women's division has been slacking bad in capitals. Alexa and Charlotte and Sol and Zaria are the only women in capitals carrying WWE right now. Now I'm going to split this into two because so the first part of looking at ever since Naomi left, that's obviously had to go away for her pregnancy. The women's division has been slacking bad. I agree, but not at the fault of the women. That is not them because they go out there. I look at Stephanie and Io. They go out there and they put on a banger match when they were allowed to do it. The booking has been atrocious on both sides of SmackDown Raw. Sorry, I should have said that. It's been atrocious from them. And Naomi over the summer was such a bright spark, and I think a lot of us were so incredibly happy and just proud of her. I think when she won that World Heavyweight Championship, and was so excited what she was going to do going forward. And it was a character that I was. There's a hot take later on as well that involves Naomi that I'm very excited about again because of the character work. So I agree. It's such a shame. Obviously, she had to go. It was for pregnancy, so amazing reason she had to go. So that bit I agree with. That yes, it's been slacking. However, not at the fault of the woman. I want to make that incredibly, incredibly fucking clear. It is at the booking. The next bit I disagree with. With it's only Charlotte and Alexa and Salt and Zaria that are carrying the division. No, yes, they are a great part of that, but it's not just them. When they're allowed to be on TV, like so Steph, we've seen Stephanie go out there with Io Sky. They didn't have a program at all, but went on in a really, really shitty show and put on a fantastic match, which still could have probably gone even longer. So I think Stephanie's even Tiffany, likes of Tiffany and Jade, this storyline is crap. We've seen it a million times. But to be fair to them, the matches are actually a lot more enjoyable than I think a lot of us thought. And they're only doing the best with what they've been given. Like, so I would say Stephanie, EO is just EO. I don't know what else to say that. Asuka, obviously I know we've all talked about this in Lens, so we kind of disagree slash agree in certain parts. Asuka and Kyrie, I think, especially Asuka, has been amazing. The Kyrie screech is just the best thing on Raw. Um, Kyrie, amazing. So I disagree with that it's only them that have been carrying the division. There's a lot of other talented women there. Becky Lynch, and all exactly a perfect example when she's allowed to be on TV. You brought this up, Josh. I think the Wrestling Geeks is one of we like need her back in the division. Um, like this stuff she's done with Maxine, and instantly Maxine's stock went up tenfold with that match she had, and I'm so excited for the upcoming IC title match tomorrow. So I disagree that it was only been Alexa and Charlotte and Saul and Zario. They have been amazing. So I disagree with that bit, but I do agree the women's division has slacked a little bit since Naomi left because that was one of the most entertaining and interesting characters in the women's division. Again, that's not the fault of the wrestlers. That's entirely on the booking.
So I obviously like Phoebe, like you mentioned, is a fan of the channel. She comes to my lives a lot as well when I do the watch alongs. And Phoebe, this is outrageous. Um, because like Rue just mentioned, we have so many other women on in the WWE that are doing a fantastic job right now. You look at Monday Night Raw, and yes, you don't have Naomi, and like just like Ruth said as well, it's the booking. That's the issue. When they are out there, they are putting on a show. You have Rhea Ripley out of all people. Like not that I didn't mean that. Like I mean like Rhea Ripley is the forefront of the women's division. Um, Going out there, she's wrestling. The crowd loves her everywhere. You have Asuka, Kairi Sane. You have Stephanie Vaquer, Io Sky, Becky Lynch, Maxine Dupree, AJ Lee when she comes back, and that's just on the Monday Night Raw side of things. You have obviously Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, sure. Zaruka, I love all four of them. But it's not just them. There are so many other women that are busting their ass and putting on great matches. Fucking Tatum Paxley won the Battle Royal
God,
this
didn't even
past
mention
Tuesday on
NXT.
NXT. Tatum
Oh,
Paxley
great.
is rising. Right, you have Tatum Paxley, you have Izzy Dame on NXT, who I'm someone who believes Izzy Dame has an incredible future in pro wrestling. Um, and on the SmackDown side of things, it's a little lesser, but you still have them at least attempting to get Julia and Kiana James on TV. Zelina Vega's now paired with Aleister Black.
Hmm?
Um, you have so many women's talent, and it's just not Zaruka and Alexa and Charlotte that's carrying the company for the women's division. There's so many other talented women there, and that's just the three shows. Like there, we still have Evolve, and there's a lot of talented women over there that are eventually going to get called up to NXT and hopefully in the main roster one day. So I honestly think as bad as the booking is with the women's division, it's the future is good for women's wrestling in the WWE.
Yeah, so you guys have pretty much made all the points I would make. So I'm gonna just wholeheartedly, massively disagree with this opinion. I think it's very short-sighted. Um, SmackDown Women's Division booking terrible. You've booked the champion against two people basically for nearly a year. So stop that now, please. But it's okay because now she's going up against Kiana James. So yay. That'll make everything better. Also, so we've got a US title or a US champion and we've got a world champion. And rather than have them form their own rivalries for the titles, we're now going to have them rival each other, which makes no freaking sense to me. But that's SmackDown. Solruka, Zarya, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss. The only good things in women's wrestling is one of the poorest takes we'll hear today. First of all, Zarya, I don't think performed great on the tag the other day. She looked a little bit clumsy. Obviously, that might be nerves. But we are ignoring some of the best women wrestlers in the world, if we're saying that. For, as you said, Io Sky. I won't go in about that too much at the moment because I've got one on her later on. Becky Lynch, as you say, really interested to see what the dynamic between Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins is now going to be. Now that obviously Bron turned on Seth, and she's been like the little devil in his ear recently. And yeah, get her back on television, please. Izzy Dame, as you said, I think she could go literally all the way to the elite tippy top. I think she's great, really good. Who'd have thought, by the way, we'd be talking about Maxine Dupree when we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
the good women on the roster at the moment? All of a sudden, Maxine Dupree's name's in our mouths. So there's a very deep pool of talent as far as the women go. I'm not going to get through talking about women's wrestling without talking about Jada Parker. I mean, look at her. She's not even she's not even high up on the NXT roster at the moment. Look how good she is. And she's like mid card NXT. Women's wrestling is in very safe hands, and there's not only four women carrying that at the moment. So, no.
Yeah, you also have the likes of Lyra Valkyria and Bailey on Raw as well, who I forgot to
Exactly.
mention.
Completely forgot. Like, exactly.
So And those two are great. The storyline that they're in, maybe not the greatest, but when they're in the ring, they perform very well.
It's like a school play.
Stu, I believe it's your go.
Yes, it is. Right. This is from our friend Gavin. Would WWE improve if it was TV 14, or would WWE fans not take it as they bash AEW for the way they are, as WWE fans forget their TV 14? Right. What? So, I'm fairly sure on Netflix at least, WWE is TV 14, or am I wrong on that one?
No, they are.
Okay, so that's the whole first part of that out the window. Sorry, Gavin. WWE fans would not take to it as they bash AEW for the way they are. I don't think that's anything to do with the rating, personally, at all. I don't think WWE fans, as a general stereotypical race of people, do bash AEW for the way they are. I think most wrestling fans like both. Um, that kind of seemed to me a bit like an AEW fan bashing WWE fans rather than anything else there. And also, let's remember the Attitude Era, where most WWE fans fell in love with WWE, and that was very much TV 14 or over. So, yeah, that's probably the first one today I completely disagree with in every way.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump in, Josh?
You can go.
Okay, go. Yeah, no, so I haven't thought, but I know specifically with WWE and the Netflix deal, there's a lot of, as you said, kind of confusion around it because I think Netflix, as you said, it says it's P or TV 14, which I know, but then I think there was a statement when WWE came out and said that they were going to keep it PG, but obviously if they wanted to, they can bring it a bit like when Cody Rhodes told The Rock to go and F himself. Like that, they can do it if
Yay!
need be. I had a thought about this one, and I'm gonna. I also do disagree. Because I don't know if this is a way folk would look at it, but it's just instantly like jumped to mind. Is do- if we were to take what we see in AEW, let's take. Oh, well, maybe not last night's one because there's other videos on that. But let's take one of the Moxley Derby matches from previous. Take the Coffin match, for example, and we stuck that in WWE. Would fans start coming back to WWE who will maybe lapsed and prefer AEW? I'm sure there'll be a couple. I'm sure actually there'll be more than a couple that do. But the fact is, again, you're then alienating a massive part of the audience in WWE, which the product is catered to, and that's kids. We get told all the time. I'm sure you do. I get told that, oh, WWE's for kids, and we get made fun of for it. Yeah, it is, and that's why I fucking love it. It makes me feel like a child again. Like watching that Cena and AJ Styles match, I felt like I was 8 years old again. And it was amazing. And this is the thing I think a lot of people forget. They go, "Oh, AEW is an alternative. It's a great alternative to WWE." It is. On the other side, what you need to remember is that WWE is also an alternative to AEW. People aren't always going to like what is on AEW. Some vote is too far, it's too much. Like I remember, like I wasn't allowed to watch wrestling as a kid. One, we didn't have it, but I wasn't allowed to because again, it was in the mid 2000s when Bra and Panties matches were all over the place, and John Cena was gushing blood alongside JBL.
I
I
miss Brown
wasn't
Panthers matches every day.
exactly. I wasn't allowed to at the time, and I'm sure there's a lot of other kids nowadays that they would get taken away from that. Like I say this to like my girlfriend all the time. When you watch Raw and you watch SmackDown, and we talked about it, I think even the other day there, Stu and Josh, like when you look at the crowds, what's the majority of what you see? Families with kids everywhere on the front row. That's what it is. It's a kid related product. That's exactly what it is. It's catered for. It's not catered for the three of us, but we can still love it and enjoy it. It's always going to be catered towards the kids. So do I think changing it to PG or TV 13 or 14, what the hell it is, would flock fans back? I'm sure there'd be a couple, but I think you'd be alienating such a majority of your audience that they would see a drop in viewership if they were to do it.
Yeah. So this this take really boggled my mind a little bit. Because there's just a lot wrong with this. Um, Rue, you brought up a lot of good points, and you're absolutely correct because both companies can be an alternative for the other. Sometimes you want more storytelling and you want the storyline aspect of it, and you want as everyone says now, the cinema aspect of it. Sometimes you want just the pure wrestling aspect of it. You want those hard-hitting matches, you want those five-star classics. That's where AEW comes in handy. The whole comparison between WWE and AEW is ridiculous. It's wrestling, and just enjoy wrestling. If WWE was TV 14 for a couple of years, and like Ru said, sometimes they go back and forth, um, and that's perfectly okay, because I I don't understand why there's certain people that's like, oh, I prefer, AEW over WWE, and WWE is shit, or AEW is shit. It's wrestling, guys. Just watch wrestling and enjoy it. There was a point in time where fans weren't even able to watch wrestling in arenas, and arenas were empty. Luckily, we don't have that anymore. So it just needs to stop. It's it wouldn't matter, like you said, Rue, if and I'm trying not to reiterate the same exact points, so I apologize for the dead air. Um it wouldn't make a difference if WWE stuck to TV 14 or stuck to PG 13. It's wrestling, everyone loves wrestling, and they're gonna watch it regardless.
Aren't we lucky we live in a world where we get to watch both? We
Yeah.
have these alternatives. We're so lucky as wrestling fans that we get to tune in on Monday and Friday nights for the storytelling of the WWE, and then we get to tune in on whatever nights you guys have Collision and Dynamite over in your lands for the great wrestling. By the way, there is great storytelling and great wrestling on either side as well. It's not exclusive to one side or the other. We're just really lucky as wrestling. Can I drop an F bomb, Josh?
Yep.
Fuck tribalism. It's pissing me off now. Fuck it.
Yes.
We're
We are
fine.
T-
As
we,
being...
we are TV 13 or 14, whatever the fuck we are.
Yeah, there we go. We are TV 14. I've got no place for tribalism at all. I've got no place for it.
I think
You go
all of
down
us
to
are the same.
yeah, man, it's wrestling. This is the beauty of it. We might, I prefer WWE only because I know it more. So
Yeah.
I know the character, so I can follow it better. I'm learning about AEW, and I love that. I just love wrestling.
Just love wrestling,
Tribalism,
guys.
just love wrestling. Yeah, fuck
That's,
tribalism.
we try telling folk this on TikTok, but all three of us, you just get met with just snarky ass comments. Try telling them this.
Yeah.
God's sake, let's just do one big company. Just call it wrestling.
That's what WWE will try to do.
And like that's exactly it, right? It's like it doesn't it doesn't make any sense. Like there's people like that'll enjoy WWE more. There's people that'll enjoy AEW more. Sure, I come on here week to week, and some weeks I'll be like, okay, Dynamite was a lot better than Raw or SmackDown this week, or some weeks I'll be like, okay, Dynamite wasn't that good this week, but I enjoyed Raw or SmackDown. It's it's very subjective, and like Ru said, we're going to be saying that a lot. Um, just enjoy professional wrestling.
Absolutely.
And one more thing. Sorry, Rue, mate. You
No, go
go.
for it. Oh, no, it's absolutely fine.
All I was going to say was, it's fine to have a preference, it is not fine to just smash someone for having a different preference.
Absolutely. Absolutely second that. Like, it's literally what Josh said there. Like, there's like we all love each company. I love just any wrestling company. There isn't one that I actually like hate. And it's this idea. Like I said in my video literally the last week where I was comparing WWE and AEW, that for right now, what you get and what you pay for on your TV and what you pay for on the pay-per-views, AEW I think was an all-round better product. However, in the last couple of weeks, especially now if we want to look at the pay-per-views for October, WWE, in my eyes, was a lot better this month. Crown Jewel was better than Wrestle Dream. Wrestle Dream, I thought, was very, very underwhelming. It was Crown Jewel, I thought, was very fun. Maybe it's because I had such a low bar for Crown Jewel after WrestlePalooza, and whereas with AEW, we tend to have quite a high bar. It's just the way it is, and it's okay. Like, it's fine. Like, it doesn't bother me if one company's better than the other. It's not a thing that crosses my mind. I just want to go on and watch wrestling and be entertained. It's the thing I look forward to at the end of my week whenever it's on. So I don't know. I hate it with you. I'm with you. I hate the whole tribalism thing. It's so stupid.
So I do not have any more hot takes. So Rue, it's all you.
Oh, one to me. Oh, okay. Um, so got one here from Joy Wrestling, who says Mercedes Moné is overhyped and not fun to watch in the ring. I love
Oh.
this take. I love this take so much. I love this. I want it this way. I can start being spicy. I just don't like Mercedes Moné very much. I never have, but it's not like there's a new thing. You can go back on my channel and you'll find this. Um, I've never been the biggest fan. Now, what I will say, she's not fun to watch in the ring. I slightly disagree there. Like Mercedes Moné can put on a fantastic match. Like her one with Chris Statlander was amazing. So that bit, I'm slightly. We've seen her as well with Sasha Banks in WWE. Like the match she had with Bayley, amazing. But the character I have never enjoyed, and especially the one right now, which is very, very topical at the minute, is the belt collector. Seeing as she added the bloody ROH Women's Championship to it last night as well, or not the women's one, sorry, the what was it, the TV one she added? I can't remember now. Um, she's now 11 belts money. Um, it's a gimmick. Now I'm not going to go too much into this because I believe that there's a hot take about this later on. But yeah, I don't like the gimmick. It's not for me, and the character of Mercedes Moné, and even when she was Sasha Banks and she was the boss, she was never my favorite. As saying overhyped, harsh, I guess, but it's hot takes, and as I said, I was going to give an actual answer. I'm going to say I agree. I agree. It's harsh, but I agree with it. I think, she is fantastic. However, the entire character that surrounds her isn't for me, and again, subjective, to just knock it on the head, for me, isn't the most entertaining or fun to watch. So I'm actually going to agree, as harsh as it is.
So yeah, I agree as well. I don't like the CEO character. I never understood it. I still don't. And I don't understand why she has 11 titles. Um, I don't think she should. I don't think anybody needs that amount of titles. Um, in terms of the in-ring aspect, though, I'm also with you, Rue. I think she's fantastic in the ring. And she, like I said, can put on so many good matches. Um, Overhyped is an interesting one because you look at the feedback that she gets on social media and it's very mixed, right? You have people that like her, you have people that dislike her a lot. So I don't know if overhyped is the right word. I would probably go as far to say as overbooked is the word I would use. Um, because she has 11 championships and she is a character that a lot of us don't like that is being thrown at us. And they're just like, "Here, take this. We're just gonna give it to you whether you like it or not." And it's not good.
I'm weirdly going to disagree with both of you. But I'm also going to agree with the hot take. So this is weird. Um, so I prefer the CEO character and 11 Belts Monet. That's actually the part of her I like. The in-ring side of her, I'm kind of like, it's okay. She puts on decent matches, decent matches. But I really, we're 11 belts in now. We're in. So let's just keep going. It would have stopped at five. I'd have been like, okay, yeah, that was a lot of belts. But now we're 11 deep. So let's just keep adding to it. And also remember, she's got to defend 11 titles for kind of several companies. So that girl is going to be working hard at the moment as well. So, firstly, respect for that. Secondly, I love the CEO theme tune. I love her entrance music. I love her little CEO wiggle she does. So I love the belts part of it. I love the kind of character. It's only when she gets in the ring I'm kind of like, yeah. So yeah, overhyped maybe, but I quite like that we're in this position that we've got 11 belts knocking about, and I want more. Give her the
See,
tag
guys.
title.
Yeah, oh my God, I'm going to see if you did. I was going to say, see, guys, this is how you disagree with things in wrestling and don't have a massive hissy fit about it.
Nobody's insulted me yet for having a different opinion, and weirdly enough, I haven't insulted anyone for having a different opinion.
We're doing
Oh
I'll
so
wait
well.
till
man,
Rob
what a
for that.
boring podcast this is. We're not insulting each other.
We should have just got the folk on themselves to say it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Stu, take it away.
Okay, I'm going a bit old school with this one. This is from a friend to the Stew World Orders, Dean Curran. Billy Gunn deserved a world title run, but The Rock's "Hi, my name's Billy" killed it for him. So I've got there's kind of two parts to this. One I agree with, one I disagree with. I don't think Billy Gunn personally was ever world title caliber. His name was Mr. Ass. He lived in a world with Triple H, The Rock, Chris Benoit, like pretty much every great name you could put in wrestling at the time. He was in there, and there were just many more deserving people of a world title than him that didn't get one, by the way, as well. He's quite low down on that list of people who deserve the world title. Um, However, "Hi, my name's Billy" killed everything for him. It destroyed him. Any legitimacy he had died with that promo, as far as a main event talent went, because The Rock was just very, very good at what he did. And he killed wrestlers in a different way back then. Now he kills them corporately. But yeah, so I half agree. I agree with The Rock killed his momentum completely, even though Billy was complicit in that promo and had no problem with that promo. It did destroy him completely. I don't agree that he deserved a world title run.
Yeah. So I love Billy Gunn. He's a guy that often comes over to Canada and wrestles at Maple Leaf Pro. And he's just seems like an all-around great guy. But I'm in total agreement with you, Stu. I don't think he was ever meant to be world championship material. You look at all similar gimmicks in wrestling and you could just tell they weren't put there to be that world championship or be the face of the company, because they were there for the entertainment aspect of it. That's what Billy Gunn was there for. Like you look at people like someone I know very well, Santino Marella, right? He was put there. He was a mid card champion, but his main job was to entertain the audience and make us laugh. R-Truth is somebody else that's along those lines as well. You said it, Stu. His name was literally the Ass Man, and he was not. When you have a nickname like that, you're not meant to win a world championship. Um, Nor do I think that he had, and this sounds very harsh, as much as I love Billy Gunn, I don't think he had the um I'm trying to think of the word. I don't want to say talent, but that's the only word that's come to mind. So like he didn't have that it factor is what I'm trying to say to be a world champion. I think at most mid-card champion, tag champ, that's where he was fitted best.
Yeah, I there's not really much more for me to add because I totally agree. As boring as that is, I'm with you. Billy Gunn was someone who's incredibly entertaining with what, and he always did the best with what he was given. The issue is, and I'll reiterate it, he was given the moniker of the ass man. Um, as you said, that is not someone who is going to be your WWE champion. Yeah, I especially with the era he came up in, maybe he came around in the 2010s. I mean, hey, we put the World Heavyweight Championship in Jack Swagger, like anything's possible. But um, for when he came around, he was never going to be the top of the company. As you said, you had The Rock, you had Austin, you had Triple H. Like he was never ever going to be there. And I also agree. Yes, I mean, Billy is the Rock was very good at maybe not necessarily I want to say burying talent, but also burying talent with his amazing on the mic skills. Yeah, I love Billy Gunn. I disagree. I don't think he would have or should have been world champion. Incredible wrestler, great tag team wrestler, great character, but not the final product for me.
I mean, he wasn't even the best one in his tag team, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, Rue, it's all on you.
Me now. So this comes from Belt Up Bridal, a fellow Scotsman that I know from TikTok, and he said, outside of the polished and superb production value of WWE, it is actually a very poor wrestling company that relies heavily on nostalgia. Um, I'm going to first surround this by saying this is massively subjective in what your definition of a wrestling company is. Because for me, just straight away, I disagree straight away because wrestling to me is what the product of WWE show. Um, I stand by the fact that moves are very cool and technical wrestling is amazing. However, for me, it's the show, it's the spectacle, it's the characters, it's the storylines. That's wrestling to me. Wrestling's a pantomime, and that's what it is to me. The moves, if you can do both, amazing. As you said, some of the incredible talent out there, and that's something the likes of AJ Styles excels in. I mean, we just go back in a recent match, and we're all talking about it being a match of the year in John Cena and AJ Styles. As a technical wrestling match, there's better ones out there this year. It was still very good as well as a technical wrestling match, but that was it. It's the storyline, it's the spectacle behind it that they can build that makes it grander for me. Again, this is a very subjective hot take on what your definition is. So for me, it's not a pure wrestling company. For me, it's the wrestling company. And yes, all right, yes, I'm glazing WWE, but it's how I feel. It's how I've always felt as a child. It was WWE. It was the glam of it. It was It was like Hollywood. So for me, I disagree. I think it is the wrestling company.
Still, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly disagree with this one. I'm sorry. It's not a poor wrestling company. It's a brilliant wrestling company, and that's why it's the premium wrestling company. Um, I'll just caveat, there are other brilliant wrestling companies out there as well, but you can't call
Totally.
WWE a poor wrestling company. It's just not. Um, Saying it relies, you've made every point I was going to make. I mean, look at John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. That wasn't exactly a classic technical wrestling match,
Hmm.
but oh my God, what a match! What a match! I'm gonna harp more on the nostalgia part of this. It relies heavily on nostalgia. It doesn't rely heavily on nostalgia. It has an unbelievably rich history. Why would you not lean into look at the previous 50, 60 years or however long we've been going, look what's happened before, where this is happening now? Do you know what I mean? Yes, we bring back old faces and stuff, but Every company does. There's nothing better than a pop for someone. I haven't seen him in years. Here he is. Brilliant. That's not relying on nostalgia. That's just giving the fans what they want. It's got such an incredible history. Why would you not want to remind people of that history? It's like when you watch football or something like that. You're talking about what happened in the 80s and 90s and stuff. It's exactly the same thing. That's not relying on nostalgia. That's just recognizing your history. So, yeah, wrong on both counts on that one, I'm afraid.
We literally had Sting appear on Wrestle Dream last night, guys.
I'm
Like,
trying not to turn it
what
I
are
know.
we doing here? Like, it's history, like Stu said, and it's not relying on nostalgia. I don't understand how relying on nostalgia is having Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree on Raw, having Bayley and Lyra on Raw every week. I don't understand how that's relying on nostalgia. Um, like Stu said, it's you have to recognize the history because it has such a deep rooted history dating back many, many, many decades ago. And it's also a fantastic way to put new guys over. If, like with Cody Rhodes beating John Cena, right? Like if somebody who hasn't watched wrestling in like say like from like 2012, 2013 and they come back to wrestling now and they're seeing Cody Rhodes and John Cena, their last memory of those two was Dash and Cody Rhodes and John Cena facing Brock Lesnar in 2012 or whatever, right? They're gonna come back and be like, "Oh wow, this is really cool. They've evolved since then," and that's exactly it. Relying on nostalgia
Great point.
is a bit of a reach. You need to have nostalgia sometimes, but to say that it always relies on nostalgia is a bit wild. Um,
Oh, it's my turn again, isn't
yes, sir.
it? Okay. Kayfabe Kingdom. I think a friend to most of us, isn't he? I do believe. Um, Cody is only in the main event position he's in because stupid phone. Sorry, gotta start that again. Cody is only in the main event position he's in because he had to be treated well coming over from AEW, or they'd have never attracted anyone else back. I love you, Kayfabe Kingdom, but that's wrong in so many ways. So many ways. Just no. He didn't have to be treated well at all. He came back, got over with the crowd, a crowd who already knew the work he'd put in. He came back as a main event star. All they did was recognize that fact. I'm fairly sure there's been people come over from AEW who've been not treated very well at all, and that's not stopped anybody else coming back yet. Andrade,
Cough. I was going to say
500
that.
So Cody's in the main event position because Cody deserves to be in the main event position, as he's proven for the last however many years. And yeah, as far as people coming back from AEW, nothing's going to convince somebody to come back from AEW apart from money. So yeah, no to that one.
Cody Rhodes has always been that guy, in my opinion. He just needed to leave. And he obviously bettered himself a whole lot more. And it's he needed to better himself a whole lot more. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. Um but um yeah, man. I disagree. I'm blanking on my thoughts right now. Um yeah, I've completely blanked. I come back to me. I'll give it to Rue.
Sure. Yeah, I wholeheartedly disagree with this one. There's not really much more to say on what Stu you said. Like Cody and also Joshua, like Cody went away, he banked on himself, and he became one of the biggest stars in the entire industry. Um, WWE knew what they were getting with him, and they wanted to bring him back. I will say maybe I'm sure there was probably a conversation internally within WWE under hushed ears of like they are petty. We know this, so I'm sure maybe somewhere there was an idea of like, oh, this will stick it to them. But that's not using Cody. Cody was always going to be there. It's not, as you said, maybe if we were sat here talking about, I don't know, using Andrade again, it's always a scapegoat. We were talking about Andrade came in and instantly became world champion. But no, we're talking about Cody Rhodes here. Like, he's the biggest guy in wrestling currently, at least up there anyway. So yeah, I totally disagree with they had to do this, and that's the only reason Cody is in the position he's in. Cody's in the position he's in because he worked goddamn hard to get back to where he knew he could be and should be. And WWE just recognized that and brought him back.
Yeah. So I apologize, everyone. I had a very long night last night, so my brain is just fried at the moment. But I am in total agreement. I think that Cody Rhodes has always been a very talented individual that he needed to step away, he needed to come back, and he, in my eyes, he was always world championship potential. Always. And to say that there's so much noise going in my background, so I apologize. But to say that they needed to do that for him is kind of outrageous because you fast forward till now, you look at Ricky Saints, that's an example that you can use because they brought him from AEW and immediately North American title, NXT championship, right? They didn't throw the title immediately on Cody. As a matter of fact, it took him a
Yeah,
very long
3 years,
to get
wasn't it?
that. Yeah. He came back 2022. He fought Seth at Mania. He had that. He had obviously the torn pec. Um, obviously, the next year it was he fell short to Roman and then finally won it the next year at Mania. So it was a long, gradual build. They didn't immediately have him at the top of the mountain. So, um, I don't think that they felt the need to do that because he came from AEW. Like I said, we saw with Ethan Page and Ricky Saints, that kind of seemed more like a need to, they just wanted to be petty in some sort of way. Not the case with Cody.
Totally agree. Right, my next one's a very interesting one, and it's a bit of a different era around it. I'm so glad we have Stu with us, the UK indie guy, to talk
Oh
about this next
no.
take. You're getting called out here.
Oh,
Um, no, you're good. The British indies are far better than the major American promotions out there. The greatest wrestlers of all time have come from the UK, the likes of Will Ospreay, William Regal, Pac, Mark Andrews, Wild Boar, Mike Hitchman, Flash Morgan Webster, Danny Loomer, as it keeps going on, Rain Leverkusen, and many, many more. And the American promotions don't give you the true wrestling feeling anymore. Okay, this is a really interesting one because of a conversation I think we have fairly recently had. I would be a massive hypocrite if I didn't say I agree with the fact that I love the grit and the feeling of the UK independence. We know I bang on about ICW all the time. I love ICW. It's my favorite wrestling shows have came from there. Um, the thing, it's a hard one because I feel I want to say overall, I think I don't know. Do I disagree or do I agree with the take? I'm trying to think right now.
It just
I
seems like we're all blanking today.
I know it's such a hard one because, like, for instance, if you want to sit me and tell me that, do I think this an independent that's it's maybe very good, but a very very small one in a small suburb somewhere around the UK is better than the WWE? No. I think the thing is, it's hard to make the stars, and that's what we go to see WWE for. We go to see these larger than life characters and all that because the storylines can be told within these small promotions, no problem. I said some of the best storylines I've ever seen have came through ICW. If you know, you know. When I talk about Jackie Polo and Lionheart winning the ICW World Heavyweight Championship, then you know what I'm talking about. Great, great storyline. Um, so I'm going to say I disagree that the majority are far better than the major promotions. But what I will say is the I love the feeling of some of the UK indies. They're so just fun to be around. We talked about it at length the other day there. I think just offline about how much enjoyment we get from it. And I'm very excited to hear what Stu's take on this is right now. Trying to get through it. It's a very interesting take and question. I said it depends as well. It's subjective to what you love within wrestling. Again, if you love deathmatch wrestling, for example, I'm sure there's some amazing deathmatch promotions here in the UK and maybe better than those in America. It's a very, very interesting one. I want to throw over to yourself, Stu, to actually see what you thought of
God damn you. Right. Okay. So if you think I'm going to disagree with this take, you are high.
that.
As the UK wrestling advocate that I am, there ain't no way in hell I'm going to disagree with this. However, they are two very different things. So, say with your televised major wrestling promotions, they can tell you a story over a period of time. So, every time you're watching them weekly on television, you know the story, you know the beats, you know where we are. UK independent wrestling is a very different animal, as in sometimes you're going to a UK show and you don't know anybody on it. And this is a completely different talent that they have to have. They have an 8 to 12 minute match to tell you every bar of the story while wrestling. So not even with like they can come out and do a promo first, some do, some don't, but they have 8 to 12 minutes or sometimes 20 minutes to tell you every bit of the story you need to know without saying a word. And that is a damn amazing talent to have. When the ring psychology that they have to have in UK independent wrestling to be able to put everything over is so good. You have to have such good ring psychology to tell that story to people who won't even know who you are. So first of all, you've got to tell them straight away, am I a babyface? Am I a heel? What kind of babyface am I? What kind of heel am I? You know, how do I work? And you've got so much to tell them in an 8 to 12 minute match. And that's curtain to curtain. That's not even just in ring. So there are a hell of a lot of incredibly, incredibly talented people that haven't gone over to America and done anything yet in the UK's. I'm really glad they mentioned Ray Leverkusen. She's a female wrestler. She's got like a rock chick gimmick. It's so good, and she's so good. You got people like Charles Crowley, Ryo, another great female wrestler. You've got tag teams like Reese and Rogan. There are some insane talent in the UK, and I'm probably going to get battered because I haven't listed off about 1,000 people right now. And I want to, but yeah, that's a different podcast. So yeah, the American product is the American product is great, but it's a different game basically. It's just a different game. I love nothing better. If you were asking me, do I want to sit down and watch SmackDown or Raw, or do I want to go and watch a UK independent show? There's no question. I'll go and watch the UK independent show every time.
Sorry to quickly bump in, Josh, before you go. I forgot to say the person's name who asked this. This comes from Riley Rowe. Sorry, I completely forgot to say the name.
Oh, no worries. Um, so obviously you guys would know a lot more about the UK wrestling scene than I would. Um, However, I will say that wrestling is different everywhere you go. And there's different kinds of wrestling, and I agree and disagree at the same time in a way with this take, because I agree with Stu in saying that like the UK wrestling or just independent wrestling as a whole is much harder because Stu, you yourself have been training in pro wrestling, and I'm pretty sure
No,
you
I haven't. I don't know who told you that. No, I haven't.
um but you like, and I'm pretty sure like anyone that has trained has been told that you it can't just be a match. You need to tell some sort of story in there. And like Stu said, without saying a word. And um it's much more of a grind. Now, as a whole, is it better? No, because the American product has they have those resources. They have, you know, all the money in the world to make it better and make it a better production. But when you like dial it all the way down and you look at the grind, it's so much different. And they really pay more attention to detail on the UK wrestling indie scene. And as somebody who's trained with you know, people like Eddie Dennis and Wild Boar Hitchman, um, they pay so much attention to detail and like Trent Seven as well. Um, their attention to detail is so good, and I will forever respect that. So I think that a lot of the great wrestling does come out of the UK. Um, in terms of it actually being better though, it's realistically it's not, but that's just because they don't have the same resources that the American companies and promotions have.
You've got to also think as well that these really, really talented wrestlers, some very experienced wrestlers who haven't had the break to go to America or wherever,
Yep.
they are given incredible performances for like 40 quid. Do you know what I mean? They're still giving some of them amazing quality wrestling for 30, 40 quid a night. And so I'm never, ever going to do anything that's going to bash the UK Indies ever.
I think we're in agreement because I'm with you. Like you brought up perfectly there, Stu. If you were right now to hand me tickets, say, you know, SmackDown's in Glasgow tonight. Do you want to go to that, or do you want to go to the garage to go see ICW? If you're from Glasgow, you know what I'm talking about. I say the garage for ICW. I'm taking the ICW show all day long. It's a different feel. It's a completely different monster, as you said. That's why there's a very hard take to answer.
Yeah.
I don't like being on the fence, but this is one I think you have to be because you're comparing two massively different things. Specifically when they've said the major American promotions. Maybe if we're talking about small independents in America, maybe we could have a look at that. But if we're talking about the major ones, we're talking WWE, we're talking AEW, talking TNA. It's so hard to compare them, but I think you've hit it like and said it spot on there.
Yeah. Support UK wrestling, people.
Yes,
Just
agreed.
do it. Otherwise, it's gonna die. And if it's gonna die, then what's it all about, man? If literally, this is, and I'm just gonna go on a little bit of a rant here for a second. I do apologize. You will pay your Netflix subscription, or you'll pay your £20 or whatever for your AEW PLEs and stuff, but you won't pay £10 to actually go and sit in the arena or in the fucking gymnasium or wherever it is. You won't pay a tenner to go and sit there and actually watch it and be involved and be part of the crowd. And it's like 45 minutes or an hour down the road or wherever it is, but you'll sit in front of your telly and watch these millionaires do it. It makes no sense to me at all. I'm not bashing WWE. They deserve everything they get because they're creating a product that's earning billions. But you can sit there and watch the telly and pay your subscriptions for that, or you can actually go and get involved and meet the wrestlers and watch the craft from like 10 yards away. Do you know what I mean? It's just, to me, it's a no-brainer. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I love this guy, and he's at that show next time. Oh, I'm going to go and watch it there. Or this storyline has like kind of intrigued me a little bit, so I kind of want to come back next month because it's usually a month or so between shows. I'm going to come back next month. I'm going to watch that again, and all of a sudden you're involved and you're a part of things. And it's just I don't understand why more people don't do it. I don't get it at all. That's my rant at all UK wrestling fans who aren't watching UK wrestling. If you're a UK wrestling fan, leave your house, get in your car, and go and watch UK wrestling. And I guarantee you, if you're a wrestling fan, you'll be entertained and you'll want to go back. I saw one of the best heel turns I've ever seen at a Fight Factory wrestling show, and I didn't even know half the people involved at the time, and it still came as a shock. That's it. I'm done. I'm
Spot
done.
on. Spot on, though. Spot on.
Yeah, 100%. It's like and this is like narrowing it down to like indies in general, but when I got the chance to speak briefly to Priscilla Kelly in that pre-show conference that I did for Destiny Wrestling. She told me that like it's so much different with independent wrestling because the fans are right there, right? They're feeling the bumps, they hear it, and like they feel part of the action. Whereas if you go to, like you guys said, a WWE show and you're sitting up in the 200-300 sections, you don't really feel as much involved as you do if you were to go to an independent show. And um like independent shows are just so much more energetic because you're right there.
Yeah, completely agree.
Absolutely.
Stu, I believe it's your go.
Let's go for this one. This is actually a guy from my YouTube channel. So this is Hassan WZ84. People who weren't watching wrestling during the Monday Night Wars don't appreciate how amazing Goldberg was. He was a one of a kind in his time and doesn't get the credit he deserves from the so-called inverted commas smart marks. Goldberg was amazing. Right. Goldberg was not a great wrestler. Goldberg was incredibly limited. What he was a very, very good character. And drew a lot of money and a lot of attention for WCW in a time where they really, really needed it. He was kind of their answer to Stone Cold Steve Austin at the time. Does he not get the credit he deserves? I think he gets the credit he deserves. Sometimes I think maybe he gets too much credit. So I'm gonna disagree with this. Goldberg was good and drew money and was a phenomenon for a while, but he was incredibly limited, kind of in the ring and on the mic, which is two things you're pretty much looking for in a wrestler. What he did very, very well. I don't think he doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think he gets the credit he deserves, and maybe more.
It's a very interesting. Actually, I wanted to take this one because it's an interesting one to listen to because I'm the exact freaking person he's talking about. I'm the person he hates. Right now, sat here. Hey, not this is a horrible one here for Stu, so I apologize when we talk about all ages here. But I was born 98. Yeah, 98, sorry. I didn't start watching
Wow.
wrestling in around 2003, 2004. And before MD says, yes, I know Goldberg was in the WWE, I didn't know who he was because I only got to see wrestling once in a blue freaking moon when it was on the TV at my cousin's house. So I didn't experience Goldberg. I didn't experience the Monday Night Wars. Yes, I've gone back and done my history and watched it all. I'm not that much of an idiot. I have done all that. So, but I didn't get to experience the feeling of it at the time and what Goldberg was achieving in WCW. My first proper exposure to Goldberg was when he came back in 2016 against Brock. And that's the one, this is the one asterisk on this, I'll say. That was amazing. I loved that because I was like, holy shit. Everything that since Survivor Series 2016 has just been a downward slope for me with Goldberg. Um, everything you've said there, Stu, everything that was good about Goldberg back in the day was starting to be lost by this point. And it was becoming so unbelievable some of the stuff you're seeing in the ring, and we all had to sit through that Undertaker match. Um,
Oh God.
we all had to watch that, and I've never watched it since. I straight up refused to. So it's hard because I actually want to agree with the take, not so much on the feelings towards Goldberg, but the feeling that people like me who weren't alive to watch it during this period don't understand, because I don't understand. I always stand as not another comparison I'll use, but I'll use. Sorry, I completely misspoke there. The other comparison I'll use is someone like Ric Flair. I know Ric Flair is one of the greatest of all times, but to me, it doesn't mean anything because I didn't experience the Nature Boy as I should have when he was around in the 70s, 80s, 90s. I got the kind of general manager in Evolution Ric Flair eventually, which was still very fun, to be fair. But stuff like that. So yes, I actually do, in a weird way, agree with the take that people maybe don't understand Goldberg, but I still don't think Goldberg was, from what I know and what I've seen, was that amazing. As you said, he was an incredible character and what he was good at, he was freaking good at. But apart from that, that's where the end of the line is for Goldberg. The on the mic stuff, the in ring work that wasn't a jackhammer or a spear, it just wasn't there from what I've seen. So it is a very weird way to go about it, but I actually like agree with part of the take because that is literally me.
Yeah, I totally get that.
So I apologize too, but I am
Make him feel worse.
much younger. So I didn't know much about Goldberg when I first started watching wrestling, and just like Rue, of course, I went back and watched everything that I needed to. Um, I am one who never got behind Goldberg. I couldn't for some reason. Even watching his old stuff, I just couldn't. I didn't understand it. And I, even at a young age, when I would watch Goldberg clips, I'm just like, this guy's not that good. He's spearing people like out of their shoes, but that's all he does. And the guy has concussed himself on a spear before that he did. So he's also he's a bit of an idiot as well. Um, and he loves to complain a lot. So I just don't like anything about Goldberg, and I know this is very personalized and not very analytical, but I never was able to get behind Goldberg, and I understand everything he did for WCW. Like I totally get all of that, and I totally understand why people would like him. But I just did not. I was always a fan of the guys who could at least do something decent in the ring and really have a good on-screen presence because as a kid watching, that's what you look for, right? You look for the guy that grabs your attention immediately. Goldberg, the only thing that grabbed my attention was the spears that he did, and even that was just like, okay, that's it. Um, he was a spear and a jackhammer. That was Goldberg. And I just don't like Goldberg. And that may be a hot take, but I I never got behind the Goldberg character. So in terms of him not getting the credit he deserves, I am with Stu when he said I think he gets too much credit because you had a lot of other people in WCW who made waves and in my opinion bigger waves than Goldberg did.
It's an interesting
Yeah.
match that as well. To be fair, with what you said there, Josh, like you said, and maybe that is us not understanding or the understanding that feeling of Goldberg because, like you said, when we go back and watch it, we go, "Oh, he's just a spear." But maybe to like a 5-year-old child growing up in the mid 90s, that was the coolest thing in the planet. So that's why I'm like, I agree with that part of the take that like we won't understand that feeling. It's like when we see like there'll be folk now or maybe older folk who look at Jeff Hardy and are like, I've kind of seen the take many times. Like I don't get Jeff Hardy. He wasn't that good in the ring. He just jumped off of stuff. Maybe, but that's what I fucking loved when I was like a 10-year-old was seeing somebody just jump and throw their body off of stuff. So maybe that's like where the feeling to go. I in total agreement with the two of you, by the way, in the fact that like I'm not a Goldberg fan. Like everything I've seen. But that is the only bit of the take that I will say that I can understand the fact that I don't understand in a really weird hypothetical way.
No, that makes sense.
Rue, I believe it's your go.
Me next. Okay. So speaking of putting personal biases to the side, I'm talking to you this time, Josh. This next one's asked by that one guy who says Logan Paul is in the top 5 best in-ring wrestlers today. He's a terrible person, but a wonderful wrestler, and he's athletic. It's not a case of his opponent making him look good. He's a great wrestler all round. Oofed. Um, okay. To make this easier, we are going to look. We are going to look at Logan Paul, the wrestler here, because I think we're in a group. We've talked about it before. I know, Stu, you said you don't know too much about him outside the ring. We've kind of said our feelings towards that. I'm going
Yeah.
to now. If I will say that one guy, thank you for the message. This was actually one of the guys who asked where we could find the channel and all that. So thank you for giving me the message, and I sent him the link. I disagree. What I will say before I get into it is Logan Paul is actually a fantastic wrestler. He is. He gets wrestling. He's so talented, and it makes me disgusted, and I hate it. But he is. He does get it. He is a fantastic wrestler. Now let's just move on to the top five best in ring wrestlers today. Absolutely not. um, I disagree with that one. There are many other wrestlers who are just better, and maybe it's because they don't get to showcase that talent as much, or because when we also see Logan, it's on a big show, it's on SummerSlam, it's on WrestleMania, where he gets off to be at the forefront of usually a big singles match. I know he didn't at SummerSlam, but he was still in the ring with the likes of Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre. So maybe that's why it's so pronounced. I think Logan is very capable and can hold himself in the ring. However, I still think if right now, if you were to say, all right, Logan, go out there and put on a match with, I don't know, Otis, I think they might struggle. I'm sure they'd put on a fine match. I'm not going to sit here and say it would be a car crash at all, but I don't think it would be of the caliber you expect, like when you watch the Logan Paul John Cena. And whilst Logan Paul, I absolutely agree to that he can hold himself in the ring. He's in there with John Cena, so if anything goes wrong, he's fine. Because we have seen Logan can make mistakes. He still gets confused in the ring, as do all wrestlers. But it's because he's in there with ring generals, John Cena, Randy Orton, whoever. So whilst I will ask just by saying I think Logan Paul is actually a very good wrestler, very solid. He is not in the top five best in the world, and I think he would still struggle to carry or make his opponent look good in a match unless that opponent is of the caliber of an AJ Styles, John Cena, Randy Orton, etc.
So we obviously know my personal feelings towards Logan Paul, so we're gonna put that aside and I'm gonna talk strictly about the wrestling. I'm going to pull five wrestlers just out of my ass, and they will all be better than Logan Paul, and nobody will disagree with me. We have Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland, Will Ospreay, AJ Styles. Hell, who else do we have? Let's fuck Carmelo Hayes. I would put above Logan Paul.
James Ellsworth.
Look, the guy can go in the ring. I won't take that away from him. He can. And I will never take that away from him. I have been impressed a lot of the time when he steps in those ropes. But top five is a little bit crazy. Um, Not a little bit. It's crazy. Um, while he can go in the ring, Rui brought up a fantastic point. The guys he's been in there with. I think I could throw my sister in a match with Randy Orton and they'd put on a banger match as well.
I
So
would pay to see that match.
You just want your sister to get RKO'd now. That's what you're saying.
watch this be the one podcast she listens to. Be like, did you just sign me up for a match with Randy Orton? Um, but yeah, that's exactly it. He's being put in there with guys with experience. And if you were to put him in a match against, I'm gonna take a very like new guy. Let's say if you were to put him in a match against, um, who's a like
Casper Troy.
really new? Sure, Jasper Troy. I was thinking somebody more his size. Like
Oh,
let's
right.
say Logan Paul versus Lexus King. Right? Logan Paul versus Lexus King. Lexus King is not the
Ugh.
um yeah.
That's an awful match.
I was gonna say, you just ruined wrestling.
Or even if like you were to put him in there with someone like Super Sean Legacy. There's a better one.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Um Sean Legacy, not the most experienced guy either. I think if those two were to be put in the ring together, sure, it would be a pretty decent match, but they'll get confused. Right? Because Logan Paul hasn't gone through, and I'm being that typical guy right now, I know, but I'm going somewhere with this. He hasn't gone through the years of working to get to the WWE. He blew up on social media and he got a job at the WWE. Whereas a lot of these other guys, have busted their ass for years in order just to get a job at WWE, even if you are getting paid under like, well, 250,000, right? These guys are working their asses off. I don't think that putting him top five is reasonable at all.
Yeah, so I'm disagreeing with that take immediately. He's not top five. He's not top 10. He's not even top 20 for me. Um, what he is very good,
Yeah.
but he's not even going to break the top 20 until he goes full time. So that's the start of it right there. I don't care what we're saying. He's not a full time wrestler. I mean, where's he been recently? We don't know. Um, he's very good. I will say, I can't remember the last time I saw a Logan Paul match announced that I wasn't like, this match is going to bang. He's incredibly entertaining in the ring. Um, Rue's so right. He's been so lucky with the people he's been put in the ring with. And I can pretty much guarantee you he's not the one out there calling. Definitely not. He's getting walked through matches. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine because what he gets walked through, he does really, really well. And I'm not saying at all that he doesn't deserve to be where he is because he does, because he's entertaining. He's proved himself. But yeah, you can't put him in the top five. You can't put him in the top 20. No, just no. But I don't mind watching a guy. I haven't learned about him personally for the simple fact that I don't want it to cloud my judgment on his wrestling. And he's a damn entertaining wrestler. I love the spots he does. He's very brave. He does some stupid ass shit sometimes. And I'll always respect the fact that he will put his neck on the line. But yeah, no, he's not anywhere close to the top five.
Stu, I believe it's your go.
Oh, hang on. By the way, I'd just like to shout out the Stew World Order followers, man, because they've given me so many. So you guys are just gonna have to cut me off at some point because I've got loads. Um, okay, this is one for you guys because I don't know.
Yeah.
This is from Crawford. That's it. CrawFerd. Really good friend to the Stew World Order. He's ace. He comments loads. Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong during the Undisputed Era are the greatest tag team of all time. I don't know them tremendously well, so I can't really comment. But for me, the Dudleys are the greatest tag team of all time. That's all I have to say on that one. And I will punch anybody who disagrees with me.
You want to take this one, Josh, first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I love Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. I think even individually, they are fantastic wrestlers. I think if if you took them out of the Undisputed Era in that 2019 time and the booking was correct and you put Kyle O'Reilly in a singles division and you put Roderick Strong in a singles division, they would both strive. They were even better in the Undisputed Era. The greatest tag team of all time is not the case. Because while they were good, there are so many other tag teams in the world that are better than O'Reilly and Strong. And that's not a knock at them at all. I just spent a couple minutes praising them. Um, they're really, really good, and they still are. But you have teams, even back then, you had the Revival, who is now FTR. Like Stu said, you have the Dudley Boys, you have the Hardys. You have so many great tag teams of all time, and you just can't put O'Reilly and Strong there. And I hate saying anything negative about either of them, but the greatest tag team of all time is just not the case.
Are they Paragon?
Yes.
Yes.
Ah, I know them.
There you go. We've got some context now. I'm in complete agreement with the two of you. Sorry. Or at least with Josh. Yeah, this is an interesting one. See if the question or the hot take had been the Undisputed Era or one of the greatest factions of all time, then I totally agree with it. But for just to be O'Reilly and Strong as the greatest tag team of all time, and as Josh said, they were amazing. See some of the matches they put on, and I hate admitting this guy's name, but when it was Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne when they had the Broserweight, sorry. Some of the matches they were putting on, or the one with the one of the craziest teams, Oni Lockin and Danny Burch. What a team, by the way. A very underrated team.
Good shout there.
What a team, by the way. That those matches were incredible. Um, but as Josh said, just in NXT alone, I think there were better teams. He said you look at the Revival, FTR, but of all time, for me, again, they are an amazing team, but they're not in my all time. You know, you've got the likes of the Hardys, the Dudleys, the Usos, etc. The Young Bucks, I don't think they quite crack into there. I will say, just on a side note, slightly hot take, I'm incredibly sad with what's happened with them in AEW. Because I feel like they were on a trajectory with NXT that they could have well have ended up being one of the greatest of all time. Um, but they're not quite that for me. They are amazing, but they aren't the greatest tag team of all time.
I'm gonna set the IWC on fire right now, and I'm just gonna see where it takes me.
Oh, go for it.
I don't think that the Hardys or the Dudleys are the greatest tag team of all time.
I no longer want to be on your podcast.
Depends what your answer is, I suppose. Because again, it's all subjective.
Yeah, it's so I obviously love both the Hardys and the Dudleys. But I feel like we've gotten to a whole different level of wrestling and tag team wrestling. Like Edge and Christian is up there for me, and that's not a bias claim at all. They
We
are
got called biased a lot on Friday.
I wonder why. Heart Foundation were brilliant as well.
like I will say Edge, Christian, the Dudleys, the Hardys, they are up there in my top
Yeah.
five. However, I am torn because I have so much, and this is more of a personal thing, I guess. It's not even more analytical than it is personal, but I would give it to probably the New Day or the Usos.
Get the hell out of town.
So this is gonna set everybody on fire. I know, but you look at the New Day and you look at where all three of them came from. Xavier Woods was on route to getting released, right? He wasn't doing anything. Big E went from being a big valet for AJ Lee and Dolph Ziggler, and Kofi Kingston, the only things that he was notable for was his Royal Rumble spots. They took those three guys and made them into huge stars. And what were they, like 14, 15-time tag champs now? I think that it really sucks that Big E got hurt. Um, and I'm not talking about the current day New Day. I think the current New Day is dog shit. I'm talking about the New Day that we got from 2014 to like 20 was 18, 19 and like 2020. I'm talking about that New Day. That's the New Day that I think that has a very, very strong case of actually being the greatest tag team of all time. And I know it's more of a faction, but they they were, tag team. It was like they were tag team champions, whether it was Big E and Xavier or Kofi and Big E or Kofi and Xavier. I think that the New Day has a really strong case of being one of the best tag teams of all time.
See, it's funny as much as Stu might want to hate you. I actually don't disagree at all. My top, well, within my top three are the Hardys and the Dudleys. My top team of all time is the Usos. And I've said it before. And I'm not talking about main event Jey Uso. I'm not talking about Big Jim before everyone gets upset. I'm talking about the Usos, the Uso Penitentiary. That's what I'm talking about. That, to me, is the greatest. And the feud with the New Day is one of the greatest feuds of all time. For me, it's the Usos, the Hardys, and the Dudleys, personally. So I'm a mix of the two views.
Yeah.
To show that is my own personal greatest tag teams of all time. But again, it's all subjective, people.
It's a lot to do with the eras you grew up in, though, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
definitely.
I grew up with the Attitude Era, so the Hardys and Dudleys for me were just top draw. And obviously, you guys, as much as it sickens me to say, grew up with the Usos and the New Day and stuff. I remember the New Day forming, and Xavier, I think Kofi Kingston and Big E had like a match or something like that, and Xavier would just walk down dressed like Malcolm X, basically.
Yeah.
And they looked like they were going to be some kind of hardline black activists or something. So it was a surprise when they came out in the iteration they actually did come out as the New Day. Hated, by the way. They were meant to be really
They
good
were.
guys, and they were just hated. So the fact that they managed to run with that and become loved for being hated is a testament to it. I'm not at all slagging off the New Day or the Usos. They're great tag teams. It's just obviously I came up in a different era.
That's it, though.
But
It
you're
always
both wrong and
is.
I'm right.
It always is. That's what I said earlier, though. That's what's, again, I think a lot of, I'm not just calling folk out here, but a lot of wrestling fans, I think, forget that as well. Like I was talking about the Goldberg one from earlier. It depends on what he came up. And as I said, for me, the greatest wrestler whilst I was growing up was Jeff Hardy. No one was cooler than Jeff Hardy. I was literally 10 years old when he won the WWE Championship. I was prime fodder for the WWE and Jeff Hardy. That bit to someone older than me, it'd be like, what? Or MD who's newer who now watches Jeff Hardy and are like, there's a guy who can barely walk around the ring. Like, I don't get what you're on about. But that 2008 Jeff Hardy, there was no one cooler. Everyone, when I was at school, we all were cutting the holes in our sleeves to try and look like Jeff Hardy. We all did the Jeff Hardy. The amount of bruises and broken bones that happened in the playground because of Jeff Hardy is ridiculous. So yeah, it's all about that.
We want to do one more take each.
One
Okay.
more. Oh God, I've got loads still. Shit.
Yeah, same. I've got so many.
I think we're going on about almost 2 hours though now, so
Okay.
yeah. Maybe we'll do a part two.
We should. I think so.
Yeah, we should. We have a lot.
Okay. Oh, okay. Wait. Even though we said one, can I do two because I wanted your feelings on two different ones here specifically?
Okay, we'll do two more each.
Okay. Cool. Right. This one, firstly, is an interesting one. Mainly, I want to know what Josh's intake on this is because I am actually very excited when I seen this. It's not something I ever considered. So this comes from Yasin, who says, if I could organize a dream match with the wrestlers in their current gimmicks, and that's a really important part of your current gimmicks, it would have to be Naomi versus Toni Storm in a cinematic match. Have the vision on this match. I think that is fucking incredible. I don't care. I'm dropping it. I've obviously not something I've ever even thought about. I would love to see that. Now, as I said, I'm intrigued to see what Josh thinks, but for me, that is an incredible, like if you're talking AEW versus WWE Dream match, that is an incredible match that I don't think many people would even think of booking. That is such a good take and match to book. Thoughts?
So this may be another hot take, and man, I'm gonna get a lot of heat because so anyway, I am not a fan of the like you use cinematic word like match as the term. There's another term for it that I'm completely blanking on, but those type of matches I'm not typically a fan of. And we all know my thoughts on the timeless gimmick. This would not
You
be a
love it, of course.
this would not be a match that I'd be interested in. Um,
Oh,
I don't as much as I like Naomi, but like I mentioned, I don't like the timeless gimmick. I would not be intrigued in seeing this match at all. I would be like intrigued to see like a WWE versus AEW kind of thing. Um, but if it were this match, I think there's a lot of other options that you can go with if you were to do a WWE versus AEW thing. And Naomi and Tony Storm would not be the option I'd go with.
Once again, guys, that's okay for him to say. It's fine.
yes, that's fine. See, none of us have insulted him. He's absolutely fine with his opinion because I haven't said this on his podcast yet. It's all subjective. Okay, kids? All subjective. And now, in a polite and reasoned manner, I'm going to completely disagree with Josh's batshit argument.
Oh,
Listen, cinematic match or not, just give me a month of promos between these two. I'll be happy forever. In their current, as she rightly puts out, in their current iteration, their current gimmicks, I would be really interested to see how Timeless Tony Storm is going to turn the newly mother or the new mother Naomi lesbian. That's just going to be interesting for at least 2 weeks. What a clash of personalities and styles this would be. So I'm all in on this take. Yeah, I completely agree with it. I'd love to see this. I'd love to see the build up for it. I'd love to see the promos between the two of them. Yeah, I'm all in on this. I'd be more than happy for this to happen. And I am a big fan of the Tony Storm timeless gimmick, and obviously a massive fan of Naomi over the last 6 months. I think she's been incredible.
a match I would prefer to see over that if we're doing WWE versus AEW is Britt Baker versus Becky Lynch is a match that I've always wanted to see. I think Stu mentioned promos, and I think the promos between those two would be absolutely fantastic. And the match itself, I think, would be pretty good. Obviously, we don't know what Britt Baker is doing currently. We don't know how she's going to perform currently. Um, but if I'm thinking about the Britt Baker that we saw at the start of AEW and even the Becky Lynch we have now, I think that would be a really cool program.
I agree. It's actually, that's the thing. Again, on the match side of matches, one I would quite happily see as well. There's so many of the dream matches that come across. I think Becky Lynch in her current gimmick right now would be incredible. I think she'd be incredible for anyone in there. And I think that is absolutely what I want to see. But like I think as Stu said, if you got me to choose between the two here, I'm taking the Tony Storm Naomi one. I think that would just be masterpiece.
It'd just be mental.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so this is my penultimate one. So I'm really, really sorry to the amazing people that have left so many amazing comments. I'm not gonna be able to get through them all. I mean, so I'm gonna pick one from a really good mate on TikTok, Ross English. He sent me so many, so I'm gonna pick one of these.
We should
And I'm gonna
definitely
go
do
for
a
the most.
part two
Yeah.
at
Oh, we
some point.
have to do a part two. So anybody we've not read it out today, man, we're gonna do a part two. So I'm gonna pick his most controversial one. CM Punk, the best he isn't, the best he wasn't, the best he never will be. Merely a gimmick he shared with Y2J, who unironically was also not the best in the world at the time. First of all, just beautifully written. Secondly, right, I'm a massive CM Punk fan, huge CM Punk fan. I'd say for a time, he was. For a brief moment in time, he was the best wrestler in the world. I'm not saying that because technically he was the best, like, pure wrestling wrestler. But during the summer of Punk, there was nobody better. In that ring, on that microphone, even on commentary, he was the absolute best in the world for a short amount of time. He's still incredible and will go down as one of the all-time greats. So I will disagree with that take for the fact that at one point he was the best in the world for a short while. Y2J, I don't think was ever the best in the world, merely for he was very unlucky in the era he came up in. He had a lot of people. I mean, Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H. They were all around at the same time as Jericho, so I can't put him above those guys. But so CM Punk, I'd say was because maybe he was in an era that had slightly less a slight less depth in talent. Y2J wasn't because he was around at an incredibly competitive time.
So I obviously grew up with CM Punk and I adore CM Punk. There was a point in time, and we've talked about this on the podcast when, especially me and Rue have talked about this. Um, there was a point in time I didn't like CM Punk when he left the WWE because he acted like a real piece of shit. Um, However, that's changed once again. Stu, I'm going to take it a step further than the Summer of Punk. Even in 2012, when from WrestleMania 28, as bad as that WrestleMania was, all the way to when he lost the championship to The Rock at the Royal
Oh,
Rumble. I think he had a fantastic 434-day reign. The only reason we don't talk about the reign as being one of the best is because we talked about an era. That was the era where John Cena was main eventing every fucking pay-per-view. And as much as I love John Cena, I don't think that should have been the case. I don't think Cena should have main evented every pay-per-view. It should have been Punk. His storyline with Chris Jericho, who's also part of this discussion, I'll bring up in a second, but his storyline with Chris Jericho in WrestleMania 28 and Extreme Rules 2012, I think was really good and entertaining when Jericho was trying to tell CM Punk that he does drink and convince everybody else that he does. Um, and then you had like the spot where he smashed the beer bottle over Punk's head. Fantastic stuff. So I think that CM Punk, like you said, Stu, was the best in the world at one point in time. Not anymore, but he definitely was the best in the world. In terms of Chris Jericho, I agree. I think that he was unlucky in the era he came up in. Um, I do think that he was a better in-ring performer than people like The Rock. Um, just because he knew what he was doing there every single time, and he was just so good. Um, and we talked about earlier how Goldberg apparently doesn't get enough credit. I don't think Chris Jericho gets enough credit for what he's provided for professional wrestling and how he performs in the ring. I think he is one of the best in-ring performers of all time.
There's not one thing that either of you have just said that I can disagree with at all. I think you're absolutely spot on. There was that era, and I think it's Josh taking it further, where CM Punk for a good couple of years was absolutely the best in the world, which was funny because it was at a period when I hated him, and we've talked before. Even before he left, like I was never a CM Punk guy, but it's because I think that's the whole point. He got me with the character and the gimmick, and that just shows you how good he was because he had me freaking filled. As an adult going back and watching it, it's just like this is cinema. This is amazing. And yes, for a period of time, Punk was absolutely the best in the world. And ironically, you bring up that Jericho feud as well. That was weirdly one of my like underrated feuds, I guess, of like the 2010s. I loved it.
Yeah.
For me, so yeah, I think that absolutely was. And as you said, Stu, was he the best technical wrestler in the world at that point? Probably not. He's on a roster of the likes of Daniel Bryan, but the all-round complete package being the best wrestler, I think he was absolutely. And then to go into the Jericho point, I agree totally. Jericho is one of my all-time favorites. I absolutely love Chris Jericho. Always have, always will. And yeah, he came up in such an unfortunate, but yet fortunate for us era
yeah,
because
I
of
was
how
going to say, we
good.
say unfortunate, but
Exactly. Unfortunate for us era. Unfortunate for him because yeah, I agree with Josh. I think he should get more credit for what he has done for professional wrestling. Maybe we don't talk about the latter parts of AEW, but for the 90s, 2000s and 2010s, Chris Jericho, I absolutely adore. So yes, he falls into that unfortunate category of just being in the right wrestler in the wrong period of time and in the wrong place. But for Punk, yeah, Punk's definitely at one point was the best in the world.
I will say, I think Jericho eventually, when he retires, will get all the flowers he deserves.
Oh, I think so, surely.
Yeah. I think obviously we've just got this whole petering out of his career, and when anybody gets older, you start to sort of doubt him, if you know what I mean, a little bit, and you forget the good times.
Yeah.
I think eventually when he retires, we'll just go back to that Y2J era, and even the list. How good
Oh,
was that?
cinema.
Mhm.
Cinema,
It was. It was.
the
Right.
festival of friendship.
It was so good. I'll drop in my last take, and that's the reason why I wanted to. I really wanted to get the Naomi Tony Soma one out. I wanted to just drop an absolute a banger of a hot take, but for all the wrong reasons, I think, for this final one. This comes from Ed. He says Dominic Mysterio is the worst wrestler in WWE. He is only getting a push because of his name. I have never, ever disagreed with a hot take more in my life. I seen this and was gobsmacked when it came through. And it's not just him saying it, I've seen other people say this as well. I think I don't know, like you like even watching the product. It's he is incredible. Now what I will say is again, it's very subjective of how you describe the best or the worst wrestler. What is a wrestler to you? Is he the best technical wrestler in WWE? No. Yes, I do think Dominic Mysterio, he's still learning. He's still only, what, 4 or 5 years into his in-ring career. He's still learning. He's still developing. He doesn't have the most flashiest move set, but he's also just absolutely not the worst wrestler in form of technical wrestler in WWE. And everything about him has been developed by his character work, his in-ring psychology. He gets it way better than a lot of other people in WWE or other wrestlers are in WWE. Um, Saying that he's only getting a push because of his name, I think is ludicrous. Yes, when he first came in, maybe there was an element of he was able to get things that other wrestlers wouldn't. He had also the one-on-one debut match with Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. He got to win the tag belts with his dad. Well, his deadbeat dad, anyway. Um, but since how long has it been since Clashing the Castle 2022, 2023 was that 2022 when he first
2022,
turned
yeah, 22.
exactly. We're going on 3 years since then. He's not needed his dad. Yeah, he's been in and around Ray, and they've had the Mania match, but everything he's done has been developing under the likes of Rhea Ripley, Damien Priest, Finn Balor, JD, everyone in the Judgment Day, Edge for a period. No, actually, he's done it. You know what I mean? Um, Everything he's done, he's worked at, and he's one of the best at the in-ring psychology currently because it's so stupid. Yes, he's imitating Eddie, but why would you not imitate one of the best in the world and do it to such perfection like Dom? But the best thing about Dom is he doesn't do it to perfection because whilst Eddie got away with the shit, Dom doesn't, and that defines him differently to Eddie and makes it so entertaining. Like Eddie will throw the belt and get away with cheating to win. Dominic will throw the belt and get caught because he's an idiot. And that's what makes him so, so good. Dominic Mysterio is a future WWE champion. If you don't see that, I don't know what to say to you.
This is going to be the heel turn of the Kayfabe
Oh
Central
no.
podcast
Oh
because
no.
um I completely disagree with this, and I'm going to give a hot take, but when you think of this hot take, it is it's true. The Dominic Mysterio heel turn turned out to be a much better idea than the John Cena heel turn. And that's because we see what Dominic Mysterio is doing right now. No, he's not the best in-ring technical wrestler, but that works for him because he's sneaky, right? He doesn't win by, dropping you on your head with a pile driver. He wins by sneaking around and, sliding things into his boots. Like Rue said, yeah, sure, it's a somewhat of a copy of Eddie, but Eddie was actually successful with those things. Dom is not because he's supposed to be an idiot. Um, this Dominic Mysterio heel turn is so great, and you, you don't even have to listen to me. Watch Monday Night Raw when Dominic Mysterio goes out to the ring. They don't boo him anymore at all. They cheer him every time. Even when he cheats to win, they cheer him. So if you don't want to listen to Josh from Kayfabe Central, just watch Monday Night Raw. The guy is doing his job and much more. And I think that Dominic Mysterio, like you said, Rue, he can be a world champion. And I could see it being like a world championship reign where it's like he somehow sneakily wins it and then loses it the next week or something. I'd be perfectly okay with that because it's Dominic Mysterio. And he is somebody who he's so good at what he does, and I don't think there's many people that actually are taking note of everything that Dom does every single week and how he comes out, how his mannerisms are, how he speaks. Um, like there's sometimes as much as like he'll get cheered, the crowd will just boo over him when he speaks just for fun because that's what they're used to. And you could see that, deep down he loves it because he's getting a reaction and he's doing his job. I think that Dominic Mysterio is doing a phenomenal job right now as Intercontinental Champion, and he's the perfect person to have that title on.
I thought you were going to disagree with me there when you started off. I was worried.
Do you remember when The Greatest Showman came out?
Yes.
And everybody was talking for ages about how great The Greatest Showman was. And I was a dickhead. And I was like, it's rubbish. It's terrible. Don't like it at all. I hadn't actually seen it. But because everybody liked it, I was like, no, don't like it. I watched it. It was incredible. What a great film. I watch it yearly.
Shout out Great Showman.
Yeah. The point I'm making is this person obviously hasn't watched Don Mysterio and is only saying he's terrible because everybody else says how great he is. Because watch him for 2 matches and you'll understand he's nowhere near the worst wrestler in the world. He's not the worst wrestler on Raw. I don't think he's even the worst wrestler in the Judgment Day. He's incredibly good at what he does. And he's still growing. That's the frightening thing. As Rue said, he's young. He's still growing. I don't even really want to respond to this take because it's dumbassery at its finest. And I feel stupider for having listened to it. I feel like my IQ has dropped 10. So apologies, who was it? Who said it?
Ed.
Ed. No, you're wrong. Incredibly wrong. And you need to go away and bow your head and sit in the corner somewhere and think about what you've done. Because I think you intentionally just try to annoy us. Or you're trying to annoy someone. I don't know who that someone is. You cannot actually think that's right, what you just said. So go away, have a think about things, and watch more wrestling.
Yeah.
That being
Well, I
said,
would keep it.
wrestling's subjective.
Sometimes. Sometimes subjective.
Unless you're wrong.
Unless you're just flat out wrong.
Unless we disagree.
Now that is how you insult someone when disagreeing with them.
That was the one. That's why I was like, I'm keeping this one to last. I seen it and I was like, I'm keeping this one. It has to be put.
I apologize, Ed, but there's no coming back from what you said. For shame.
All right, Stu, lay us with your last one.
Okay. This is my last one. Again, again, I apologize to everybody who I haven't read your comments. We will get to them at some point. But this is kind of, I was stuck between Kane's entrance music is the best music in the world ever, or HBK should have been the one to end the streak. So I'm going to go with, and by the way, Wrestling Geezer put one, but he'd already been shouted out twice on this. So Wrestling Geezer, I'm saving yours till next time. I'm going to go with HBK should have been the one to beat the streak. I don't think that's correct. I don't think Brock Lesnar should have been the one to beat the streak. I think once the streak got to like 15-0, that was reserved for a young up-and-coming wrestler who needed that push. Shawn Michaels, at the time he fought Undertaker, did not need any push in the world. He was already one of the greatest of all time, was going to be cemented as one of the greatest of all time. So, no, absolutely not. The streak should not have been wasted on him, nor should the streak have been wasted on Brock Lesnar. There was a time it could have been Randy Orton, there was a time it could have been Edge, there was a time it could have been Bray Wyatt. I don't get why we wasted it on Brock Lesnar. HBK and Undertaker had two of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. So HBK got whatever he needed to get out that rivalry anyway. It cemented his legacy of one of the best ever. So no, I don't agree at all that HBK should have been the one to beat the streak. Did I say it's from Zach Rigger, by the way? This is from Zach Rigger. Again, a good friend to the Stu World Order. So I'm sorry I'm disagreeing with you here, Zach, but you are wrong.
So two of my favorite wrestlers of all time are Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. And I think The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak was one of the greatest things professional wrestling has ever produced. I am going to take it a step further, Stu. I don't think the streak should have ever ended. I think
Ooh.
that they should have kept him undefeated at WrestleMania. I don't think there should have been anybody to beat that streak because it was one of the best things um we have seen in wrestling. We and in my opinion, as like good as the streak was, 21 at 20 and 0, sorry, 21 and 0 before
21-0, yeah.
Brock Lesnar. Um I think that you definitely shouldn't have lost him to Brock Lesnar. The next year it was
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt. As much as I love Bray Wyatt, I think Undertaker still should have won that. Where I'm going with this is as much as we look at The Undertaker as a legend already, I think if he stayed undefeated at WrestleMania, he would go down as potentially the GOAT. And
Oof.
um I think that him losing that streak to Brock Lesnar kind of lowered that a little bit. Um, so I don't think the streak should have ended. That may be a little bit biased because, like I said, Undertaker is one of my favorites of all time. But I am one to believe that nobody should have beaten the streak.
Yeah, I'm like in between the two reviews when it comes to the feelings on Takeoff. We know Stu's ones. And then obviously you just said that. I always admired and I do love Takeoff, but he was never in my like top five. I mean I don't even know if I'd put him in my top 10. Um, I admire everything he done. I love the character probably more than I love the wrestler. But that being said, what you said there, Josh, the streak was something I looked forward to every single year at Mania, and it was such a fun part of Mania. But part of that fun for me was who's going to be the one to beat Taker. And that added a whole level of just interest, intrigue, and anticipation for that match. So for me, I would say I would have wanted it to be ended. That being said, who they eventually chose was a low WWE moment because why in the hell was it Brock Lesnar?
Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it shouldn't have been. Do I think to go back to the actual take on should have been Shawn Michaels? Absolutely not either. As I think you said, Stu, perfectly that Shawn had two of the greatest matches of all time alongside Taker. And that will be his legacy from that, and he got out of it what he deserved. I said I think it should have been reserved for someone new to be that one to take on the fact that they beat Brock Lesnar and run with it. Who do I think that should have been? It's two names you've already mentioned. I think it should have either been Randy Orton or Edge. I'm going to be biased here. I probably would have said it should have been Randy Orton personally. And I think for a period of time he was heavily considered from what I remember. Or it was Edge. It was one of them. One of them was like really, really heavily considered.
Edge was offered it and said no.
That was it. That's what I was thinking. Yes, it was that one. So it should have been one of them two for me personally. Again, hindsight's a great thing to look at what we eventually got. Yeah. So I mean, just to wrap it up because we'll keep it too long. I disagree. I don't think HBK should have been one to break the street. I think it should have been either Edge or Orton. At the end of it.
If You took me right now and brought me back to 2014 and locked me in a writer's room. And they told me that you are not leaving this room until you pick somebody to defeat Undertaker at a WrestleMania. I would look through all of I would be thinking very hard because obviously I don't think that the streak should be ended.
Yeah.
But no, I would not go with Brock Lesnar. No, I would not go with Shawn Michaels as much as I love Shawn Michaels. Um, I think Randy Orton could have been that guy. And that's probably who I would have ended up landing on because he's got the name the Legend Killer for a reason. So I think I would have ultimately landed on Randy Orton, and that actually ended 2014 ended up being a really good year for Randy Orton. And if he wasn't in that triple threat match with Bryan and Batista that year, I think it probably could have ended up being Randy.
Yeah, they just love Brock too much.
Oh God! I will say though, Edge and Randy, they didn't exactly do bad out of not beating the streak.
Yeah,
It
again,
didn't harm
hindsight's a
their careers
great
at all.
thing.
It nearly killed Roman Reigns.
Oh my gosh,
Gosh.
that was nearly killed Take on the ring. To be fair, so
At least they didn't go with Batista that year.
oh
Oh
my
yeah.
god, I know.
But yeah, that is our hot takes video. I apologize so much for the people that we couldn't get to, but we will 100% do a part two at some point in time. Because this was a lot of fun. I came on here with like little to no energy. And then as we kept talking about wrestling, my energy just grew. So this was a lot of fun. This is something me, Rue, and Stu have all been looking forward to all week. So thank you everybody who submitted your hot takes in. And once again, I apologize if we couldn't get to yours. We tried to get through as much as possible. But we're three guys who just love to ramble sometimes. Um, so I apologize. But that's what this podcast is all about. I have no idea how long this is going to end up being. Because we started this at what 3:30 ish. And it's almost 6 o'clock here now. So um yeah. So we will eventually be back with a part two. You guys will see me again tomorrow for the Monday Night Raw post show review. So I will be back here. Also make sure you check out the TikTok stuff, where I post my weekly show previews. I do live watch alongs for the weekly shows. I ended the stream early for Wrestle Dream last night because I was tired and Wrestle Dream wasn't helping a whole lot. I like Rue said, and I know I didn't do a post show. I was just out of it. I just wasn't feeling a post show last night. So but it wasn't that energetic. And I think it's what Rue said. It's the expectation we have from AEW and it just kind of it took me out a little bit. So if there was anybody that was looking forward to coming back in the stream when I got off, I apologize sincerely. But I will be back streaming Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. So make sure you guys are on the TikTok live for that. Make sure you guys also go follow Rule on Wrestling and Stu World Order on TikTok. They make some amazing content as well. So make sure you guys go ahead and give them a follow. And yeah, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews that come to the channel. I am in the process of trying to get a couple more interviews, so hopefully that goes through and I get some more interviews out for you guys. And we get some more kayfabe sessions episodes out there. But with that being said, I will see you guys on the next one, which will be the Monday Night Raw post show review tomorrow. And until then, take it easy.